Welcome to Jamie Natural Health and Healing's Equinox meditation on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. This is a channeled meditation, which means that it's sort of as it comes out. But I do know there's a couple of themes that we'll be looking at today. The first one being how we manage conflict, how we manage conflicted emotions, and also the second part of that is how to actually work with shifts. Those of you who know what's happening energetically will know that it's a time, equinox, of intense shifts. All very well, but how do you actually work with that positively? And we're putting those together, because once there is a shift, you can't always do things in the way that you always have, because there is a shift. It won't work, it will pull you back. So how do we manage those two things? And how do we access shifts and work with them positively? So I hope you enjoy this meditation. March Equinox 2019. Imagine yourself beside a pool of water. Gentle water. Still water, and becoming very aware of your own reflection in the water. As you look at the reflection, take a step back, either physically or in your mind's eye, to see a greater perspective of the self-reflection. Changing perspective so that you can see what is immediately around you. Keep going back until you can see at least two other people or animals in your mind's eye reflection. Within that perspective, they're not completely balanced. One is further forward, the other is further back, and you are in the foreground. Relationships or circumstances are never completely even. There is always perspective. You are seeing. For the moment, come back to yourself. Things are not even, and should you change your perspective, you can see that things are not always what they seem to be. As soon as you shift perspective, you can shift the way that you see something. There are alternatives. There are shifts always at play, depending upon where you sit, where you stand, or how you see things on a certain day. It doesn't pay, therefore, to have a set vision, a set position. As soon as you change it, it changes the way you see a situation and the way you manage real or potential conflict. Now, raise the body, raise perspective, raise consciousness by looking down at a situation, and immediately you'll see positions have changed. This is the perspective from which it is easiest to manage conflict. or argument that needs to be settled. It's simply a breadth. There are contradictions and there are conflicted emotions, opinions and positions, but it all has its place and it's all part of reality. No one can win. Go higher again and add more context to the situation. It gives you more breadth and most importantly, more calm. These are the things to add when you're in situations of conflict or conflicted emotions. Add height and add breadth. You get information and calm. Let's completely shift this or turn it on its head. This is what happens at Equinox. It's basically described as coming into balance. But you don't just magically get balance. It takes a big effort to balance a situation, especially if it's out of balance or the rules or the alignment has shifted. First of all, balance that and get a stable position. So let's just descend a little bit, your perspective. And now for a new turn of events, I want you to imagine you're going underneath the earth and looking up. This is an example of a shift. It takes an entirely different position, something outside the square. And it can feel weird, it can feel wobbly, and it can feel outright distorted. But come up from underneath. You're almost not a part of it, but it's a very different perspective. And what you generally see from underneath is intent. You suddenly notice how people are moving, how they're behaving, what motivates them, rather than just the mechanics of an event. So looking from underneath, and you see things that you haven't really noticed before. A different context, a deeper perspective. Suddenly what makes them tick, and more importantly, what has triggered them to behave the way they have. A deep perspective coming from underneath. This is giving empathy rather than just context. And it's allowing you to really resonate with a person's history. Not just how the event affects you, but resonating their history. Okay. Now shift again and go to the side. And as we shift, we're coming out of our own singular perspective, walking around an issue, around a relationship, around a circumstance, and understanding all of the intricacies involved, all of the people, all of the energy that is affected. So go to the right side. And understand what has just happened to that person. What is their immediate influence, their immediate pressures. Listening, truly listening to something that has just happened before. Adding it to your perspective. perspective and gradually feeling that the whole thing is coming into greater balance. Just store it for the moment and go to the left. What from behaviour or what from an event or circumstance will be a consequence? And having this perspective enables you to understand consequence or outcome. Preempt it. Think about it. Not just barging in and overreacting or becoming over-emotional. So the left-hand side is able to give you more of a future or consequence perspective. And you need that for total balance. Okay. Empathy, understanding, and listening, but more intuitively. Feeling what may be the consequence of all that is going on. Consequence without fear. Okay. Come back to the water, your original position. And instead of looking at a mirror image of yourself in the water, wade out to the water, cleanse, meditate, and be very aware of the coolness and the gentleness and the nurture that water, that only water can bring. As you submerge and come up, bringing into balance all of those perspectives, all of those insights, all of the history, washing through the body, empathy, foresight, understanding, a complete perspective. All of those things are relevant in conflict management. There can be conflicted emotions that serve no purpose other than to come into total balance. Thank you and enjoy Equinox. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope that you got something out of it. The meditations are bottled as little essences, which can be bought from our website www.jamienatural. The proceeds of these essences go to Global Village Foundation, who support healing and healthcare in Bali and East Java and West Java. So thank you for your contribution and support. Our next meditation, our Earth Healing meditation, is for the June solstice, which is from 21st, 23rd, so please tune in. Thank you.